here. You have this huge building in Harrisburg full of these idiots. And most of them, by the way, really disgustingly, are nurses. They have a nursing background. And 2 women died in that place. Carnamaya Monger died, a refugee, by the way, in a sanctuary city. Go figure, yeah? And no one gives a damn about her. So she's dead and buried, and there wasn't even a police report. And Samika Shaw, a young African-American mother, died. So much for Black Lives Matter. Yeah. Don't even get me started here, you know? So Harrisburg are useless. You'd be better off having a couple of random people you'd find on the street here in the coffee shop have some kind of standards. The night of the raid, and you see it in the movie. The night of the raid, he did abortions when the cops were there. And there were 2 nurses there from this disgusting Department of Health, and they phoned their superiors who told them to let him go ahead and do the abortions. And 2 people objected to him doing the abortions that night. Jim Wood, a cop, and Jason Huff, a young FBI agent. They had enough sense. So my point is, big government, this is exactly, this is a great example of what's wrong with big government. 17 years. 17 years. And they never crossed the threshold. And if they had crossed the threshold, they would have seen the feet in jars in the same place that people were eating their peanut butter and jello sandwiches. They would have seen cats walking around in procedure rooms.
How did they get away with Department of Health not going there?
Yeah. Well, you know what? You need to talk to your local representatives. And by the way, these are people. The grand jury said it. These are the people who close down nail salons. They close down nail salons because they go in and go, oh my God, what's that? That's dust. And the bodies were literally piling up there, and they didn't close it down.
Apparently, there must be a lot of maybe pro-choice individuals.
You're going right out on a limb on that one, I can tell, right?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
But we have changed the law in Pennsylvania. Now we have random clinic inspections.
Right. Yeah.
Thanks to Federation and
Thank you.
Maria in particular.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
We're working on that law, and we closed the clinic in Harrisburg just last week.
Very good.
Yeah.
Wait, question here and then question there, yeah.
The University of Pennsylvania Hospital is right on the same street. Were none of these women admitted to the University
Yes, they
of
were.
Pennsylvania
Yes, they were. Yes, they were all the
Hospital?
time.
None of the doctors
Yep,
in the
yep,
emergency room
yep.
at the University of Pennsylvania Hospital report these.
Well, some people did, by the way. If you read the book, it's actually detailed. There were some very good people who did try. One guy whose name now doesn't come to me, who's actually quite a significant name in Pennsylvania in the healthcare area, who wrote a handwritten report, which was never followed up on. He's represented in the grand jury. So these reports went to Harrisburg and nothing happened. There were some good people. There was a woman with an unpronounceable name, again she's recognized in the book, who worked at the sanitation department, who did everything. She went there and did a sanitation inspection. She got back in her car and she phoned both of her bosses, and nothing happened. And she did that twice. Yeah. Yep.
Hi, I'm Victoria. I'm the public outreach for Priests for Life. And a few weeks ago, we did the Memorial Day, the national. I want to let you all know that there is no grave marker for these babies.
But there will be.
Okay.
There will be, yeah. The last chapter of the book talks about exactly this. There's going to be a permanent memorial. There'll be a permanent memorial, yeah. And the whole details of where the babies are buried, the 47 bodies, is in the last chapter of the book. And there was a beautiful prayer service there, by the way. And beautiful prayers have been said over those children. And honestly, it's like, whose book is this? It's like there's really... Sir, can you help me? Please hold this for me, and I just want to read something. This is at the end of the book. I mean, this is what was written. I mean, this is how we ended the book, by the way. This is how important I think the burial of the 47 babies is. Yeah. So the last paragraph of the book. But the people who had petitioned for the babies' bodies felt that the city of Philadelphia had let the victims down. It was wrong, they said, that the children had been buried secretly. The Reverend Patrick Mahoney, director of the Washington, D.C.-based Christian Defense Coalition, said at the memorial, "I would simply say this to the medical examiner and the Philadelphia city government. These children were not unclaimed. We came for months after months seeking these children in love. They were not unclaimed. They were wanted. They were desired. They had meaning and purpose." It's a sentiment we share. Yeah.
Who's working on that? Because I'd like to be a part of that. I know Priests for Life.
Look, read the book and you'll see there's a whole load of organisations involved in it, not just one. But that's yours. That's yours. Look at me giving it away already. Yeah, questions? Yeah.
Was that footage in the movie, the actual
No, we recreated that, but we have the footage. We have the actual footage. I've seen the footage. Jim Wood, by the way, I just spoke to him last night. Like he's the real deal. He's like he's in Wildwood today, and I said I didn't want we want him to come to the premiere with his family. He's the whole reason this case exists. The very first chapter of the book is all about Jim Wood, and Christine Wexler, the ADA, said this case would not exist without Jim Wood. He was Carnamaya Monger's champion. He was the only one. She was dead and buried, and all the progressives in Philadelphia couldn't give a toss about that refugee. They couldn't care less. Dead and buried and forgotten till Jim Wood turned up. A narcotics officer, by the way. Nothing to do with him. And he stuck his nose in.